Hi, friends. We were just joking how I say a lot. And I just said
We're going with real
and raw tonight.
Real and raw tonight.
Ums
and all.
And all. People don't even know why we're doing this yet.
You better tell them.
We wanted to take a moment to reflect and to come to our own, just, it's been a long 10 years for us here in Victoria, and we wanted to think through that and come to some highlights and just reflect on the growth that we've experienced in our family, in our personal lives. Mm-hmm. And, it's just a good practice for us personally to do that, to share that with each other. But then we also thought we wanted to share it with you and just let you in on what God has been up to in our lives. And of course, if we were having some sort of party to say goodbye to our church, we'd offer some sort of speech or say a few words. And so I guess this is in lieu of that.
Yeah.
A bit.
Our goodbye speech.
Yeah.
Some final reflections.
Mm-hmm. So what do you find yourself reflecting on after 10 years of being in Victoria?
Well, I have changed a lot. My time here in Victoria has had a significant impact on me personally, and I just thought that I would name those things.
Oh wait, before we get into that.
Yes.
I shouldn't have really asked you that question. I wanted to just
share the story of how
words.
We came.
Yes.
Well, how did we get here?
It was in 2010 when I got a phone call from Joyce Maslink, part of the calling committee at VCRC. And at that time, I think there was a couple significant things happening at Victoria CRC. The first was that the church had called Ken Baker. And Ken Baker, he pastor in Michigan, he declined the call. But in declining, he referenced me and gave the church my name. And that's because I happen to be really good friends with Ken Baker's son. And so I had dinner at Ken Baker's house a couple times when I was in university and got to know him a little bit. The other significant thing was that Kyle Klustra was the interim pastor, and Kyle and I were seminary buddies. Mm-hmm. And so when Ken shared my name, Kyle sort of backed that up and said, yeah, you should talk to Dave. And so that's how it started. So Joyce gave me a phone call. We talked for a while and just really had a good connection. And so we sent our profile in, our church, like our pastor resume, and that got the ball rolling. And to make a sort of longish story short, we came for the month of September 2010. Mm-hmm. And at the end of that month, mm-hmm. Brittany and I had a connection, we went out to eat and we did some reflection. And I said, I think I could live and work here. I think I could be the pastor in this community, but I wouldn't want to do it alone. Because at that time, VCRC was only interested in me. And then you said...
I said, well, that's really great to hear or interesting to hear, because as I've been here over the month, I've really had this sense that I could live here, but I would really want to participate as a pastor mm-hmm. in the life of the church.
Yeah.
So we were like, okay, we have a similar idea here.
Yeah.
And so the day before leaving, we pitched it to the calling team, the calling committee, and we said, hey, we would consider a call here if you decided you were interested, but we would really want to do it together.
Yeah, you need to call us both.
You need to call us both, not just Dave, because we kind of feel like we could live here, but we'd want to share the load and share the responsibilities and share what we could contribute, and then we left.
And that was a significant curveball we threw the calling committee, because they hadn't even interviewed Brittany or heard her preach, nor were they charged by the council to, find a husband and wife team. And so they had to go back to council and go through all that discernment process. But
Anyway,
yeah,
they called us.
they called us, and we came in January 2011,
Which was pretty much exactly
10 years
10
ago.
years ago now.
hmm
And we took a train.
We took a train, which was delightful.
It was amazing. From Toronto to Vancouver.
Yeah,
It was 3 or 4 days.
yeah, 3 nights, 4 days.
Yeah, it was really special. We kind of felt the distance, and we felt the move.
hmm
Um,
Yeah.
it was an adventure.
hmm Yeah. So that's the journey.
That's
of
how it began.
how we got here, and it was just the two of us.
It,
Just the two of us.
it was just the two of us, and this brings me to my first point about the impact that these last 10 years have had on me.
Yes. Tell us, Brittany.
Well, one of the big things, the big changes that I experienced is that I became a parent. I went from not being a parent to being a parent times 4. And that has been, it's been amazing, and it's been really hard, but it's mostly been amazing. And there's been a lot of, like, who I was as a parent when Joseph came along is quite different than who I am as a parent now with Abigail, our 4th child. So I'm just sort of taken aback by the
hmm
rapid growth and changes in me and in our families' lives.
hmm
And I really love being a mom. And I don't know if Joseph, Cherith, Peter, and Abigail will watch this because they're still pretty young, but I'm very proud to be their mother. They are awesome kids. They are strong and capable and
Wild.
and
Wild.
and they're each a very special part of my life and our family.
Mm.
And I'm so grateful. That was it was a very big deal.
Yeah. I mean, you don't know how it's going to change you until you're
You're doing it.
in the midst of it.
Mm-hmm.
And for me too, I mean, that's been a big highlight and period of growth, just adapting to life with children, little kids, being a father. And yeah, it's just an ongoing, quite amazing journey.
Totally.
Mm-hmm.
So I wanted to mention that one because that I think is probably like the biggest and most significant part of the last 10 years. But there's a couple other things I wanted to mention too that I've been reflecting on. And one of them is that I've actually become a much more confident person. I would say that 10 years ago, I was pretty self-conscious. I was pretty insecure. And it was just sort of a theme of my life.
How do you have any examples of how that would show up?
Well, mistakes that I made would just like kill me. Like I hated messing up or screwing up or not doing things right. If someone else pointed out mistakes that I had made, I'd become like really defensive because I just felt like so upset about it. And it was all kind of coming from this place of insecurity, really. But over the last 10 years, I've really taken advantage of a lot of like continuing ed opportunities with this small organization called Dunamis Fellowship Canada. And they do a lot of work with Reformed and Presbyterian Christians on who the Holy Spirit is and how to understand him and pray and walk with him and work with him. And I learned a lot about prayer, and in a lot of very powerful moments of prayer with small groups, a lot of some of the things that I wrestled with internally were addressed and healed. And I would say that now I am way more confident. Mistakes don't bother me as much. I'm not nearly defensive regularly or as irritable about things like that. And I just feel far less self-conscious most of the time. And it's sort of like this weird thing because it's like subtle in a way. Like if you didn't know me really well, you'd probably like have no idea that that was like this journey I've been on over the last 10 years.
Yeah,
but
you
like,
had to live with her.
holy cow.
Yeah, I'm sorry. But I would say I have noticed.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
definitely.
like it's something I'm like extremely grateful for. Because I'm just like so much more at peace and like so much more at rest internally. And it means that I can like just operate with so much more confidence and joy. So that's been a big part of my last 10 years.
Yeah.
And then finally, I also wanted to mention that I have gained a lot more clarity in regards to my work as a pastor. In January 2011, I came with like an education that had like given me a skill set that was quite broad. But over the last 10 years, in the context of Victoria Christian Reformed Church, I've like put all those things into practice, and I've kind of figured out like what my giftings actually are, what I actually love to do, what I'm drawn towards. And I would say that I kind of came in like
Sort of a generic.
yeah, like kind of like a generalist, and I've become someone with just a lot more clarity about who I am as a pastor and how I operate and what I'm supposed to spend my time on, and who God has made me to be as a person who pastors. So I'm also very thankful for that. And it's also a really big deal.
Yeah.
So those are my
And,
reflections.
And the running joke in our house is that Brittany has great clarity with respect to her ministry, and then I do all the rest. Whatever she doesn't want to do. Yeah, that's a joke, but there's some
But kind of true.
some truth to that. Yeah, well, yeah, that's amazing.
It is.
Thank you for sharing.
Yes. And thank you, Lord. And
All things you could not have predicted 10 years ago.
no.
Yeah.
What about you?
Yeah, you know, a number of things were coming to mind as I was reflecting about this. You know, it seems like a simple little change in routine. But I guess I always had trouble finding a rhythm and a mode of prayer that was meaningful and useful, actually. I don't know if useful is the right word, but it worked for me, or it was helpful, and it brought me closer to God, gave me greater clarity on what I felt like God was asking me to do. And that was prayer journaling. And so just taking time, not every day, but, you know, frequently, to write out my prayers and engaging in a more conversational mode with God, and so asking questions. You know, Lord, this meeting's coming up. Who do you want me to be in this meeting? You know, what does it look like for me to bear witness to you in the midst of this situation? And giving myself 5 minutes to just sort of write anything that came to mind, and then maybe highlight one or two things and bring that back to God. Is this it? And yeah, that's been a change for me that has just borne fruit. and I'm excited that I've learned that about myself, and I can continue that practice. And who knows how it'll change, or what new form of prayer or way of praying will become meaningful in the future. But this has been a gift, for my own walk with God, and then also my own ministry. That was a change that I practiced, and I'm thankful for. The other thing is just music. Like I always did music beforehand.
Before moving to Victoria.
I always found some way to land in a praise team on some instrument, but I was always kind of filling in, a little guitar, a little drums, just sort of wherever it was needed. It's like, I'll give that a try. And I liked that, but here in Victoria, there was a point at which I think it was maybe 2014. I was like, I want to grow in my confidence as a worship leader, and to take a team and develop a sound and choose the songs and craft the liturgy. And I really enjoyed that. And I just loved working with Jacob Court. Maybe I shouldn't mention names. But man, we didn't even have to talk to each other. We could just know how to play together. And that was just such a delight. And just learning how chords work and how songs work. I don't know. I grew that way, and I really enjoyed that. And I think it was a blessing for the church too, to have me be a part of that. So I don't know if maybe that wasn't what I was supposed to be doing with my time. Sometimes I wonder about that, but it is what was put in front of me, and I embraced it and I engaged it, and I'm really thankful for the worship ministry that I was able to participate in, and especially some of these smaller services like Good Friday. And anyway, I really, really enjoyed putting those services together.
You were good at that too.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
And then maybe the biggest thing was, I remember it actually, it was before my sabbatical. I was connecting with some other pastors in town, and they shared a statistic with me that, less than 5% of Victorians are worshiping in a church or connected with the church community, worshiping on a given Sunday. And that really rocked me and caused me to do some reflection and to think about, who am I in the midst of the city, And I think I came to Victoria thinking, I'm here to serve at church, to preach the best I can preach, do some pastoral care, and just be in that community to try to be a blessing in some way. But that stat, and then, just spending time in the city, it basically came to develop what I called sort of my missionary identity. Maybe that's not the right way of putting it, but just my call is bigger than just serving the 200 people in the VCRC community, but the mission here is bigger than that, and it's actually very important.
Yeah.
And so I made some changes, and one of them was I decided to join this dad's group, not with really any agenda.
Specifically, I remember the discussion being, because that time of the dad's group was actually time you had previously spent on your sermon.
Yeah, right.
So the choice was, can I cut out those 3 hours
of sermon prep to
so
participate.
Shorten it a bit in order to add or participate in this group that would give you the opportunity to build friendships with
people in the city.
Different people.
And I did that. And I went to this dad's group for probably about 3 years before COVID sort of killed it, which is sad. But man, I just really, really enjoyed it. And I didn't, like I said, that I didn't have an agenda to evangelize the dad's group, but just to be myself and to share, I'm a pastor. Like, I remember when I first came here, that was actually difficult for me to tell people. It's like, oh, what do you do? I'm like, it's like, I'm a pastor, right? Just feeling a little embarrassed about it. And by the end, I was just like, no, this is who I am.
Yeah.
And that would sometimes spark interesting conversation.
Most of the time.
Yeah, but that wasn't the goal. The goal was to make relationships and to have friends in the community. And it was, not that hard because we all had kids and going through similar stuff in life. And I just really valued that. And I came to see in a way that my way, or at least the way that's developed, for how I live into this call, like this
in the city.
missionary identity, is through friendship and just asking questions, being present, being faithful, and being open and vulnerable about, this is what I think, this is what I believe, this is what I do. This is, be myself. And I'm really thankful for that growth and look forward to bringing that with me in the next chapter.
Yeah.
And there's many other things I could say, but those are the big things, I think. Yeah.
Great.
So what next, honey? What do you want to...
Well, we just prepared a top 10 list.
Top 10.
The top 10 of the last 10.
That's right. Top 10 of the decade.
Should we do it?
Greatest hits.
Okay. In no particular order.
So what are these 10 things? Just things that are meaningful to us?
Just like...
significant parts of our...
Just awesome things.
Pieces to our life here in Victoria.
Awesome things that we've loved about life here in Victoria. Okay.
Number 10.
Well, let's just start at the top.
Okay.
But this is not in an order.
Okay.
So the first thing I wrote down was coffee break and the dad's group. Mm-hmm. And I wrote that down because for virtually the whole time I've been here, I have attended on Wednesday mornings a women's Bible study for moms called Coffee Break. And I've loved it. In a way, Dave's dad's group functioned in the same way. This was a place to go and interact with other people who were learning how to parent,
right,
and who needed like emotional and spiritual support. And I will just always cherish my memories of Coffee Break and the relationships that came about through Coffee Break.
Mm-hmm.
And I know you feel the same about the dad's group. That's why I put them together.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And then next I put...
babies.
The babies.
Top 10.
We had 4, and the process, like pregnancy, childbirth, the whole postpartum recovery and figuring things out with a newborn, really, really significant for us and really special. Mm-hmm. And we were thinking about doing a Guess That Baby thing, and Dave could edit in some photos. He might not anymore.
Yeah.
But anyway, the babies.
Mm-hmm. Connected with this, our neighborhood park.
Tolmie Park Playground.
Yeah. We, for 8 years, well, maybe
what
not.
What can we say about Tolmie Park?
We go to Tolmie Park every single day.
The best.
Yeah. It actually will probably be
been the best.
It'll probably be one of the hardest things to say goodbye to. Like, you know what I mean? Yes. Because it's been so special and important.
I did not mean to cry right then.
But just these neighborhood connections and friends and other kids. We've just clocked so many hours with
so many wonderful people. And that's the thing. Friends. It's just a normal park. And
it's not even the best one in Victoria.
No, it's not.
But it's the
But
people.
it's the one we could walk to.
Yes.
And
It's the routine that gave life.
it's a routine that really gave life to the kids because they got to spend time with their friends, gave a lot of life to me because I got to spend a lot of time with, you know, really precious friends. So,
And we just made a really great community there.
yeah, we love it there. We'll miss Tolmy Park. Something else. The Agnes Street Community Garden.
Oh
This is a very big deal.
I loved it and hated it all at the same time. It was just, just by the church, there's all those community gardens and
It's one community garden with many plots.
right. Anyway, I had a 20 by 60 plot and it was so big. But it was so much fun at the same time to just plant, watch things grow. Also part of my sort of spiritual routine. I would go there and listen to worship music and put seeds in the ground. And I got to know all the other gardeners in my little area. And so I'd ask them all questions because I don't really know what I'm doing.
And they
so
were all like really good.
they were so
and it
helpful.
was like, wow.
These people could feed like a whole army with their plots. But anyway, it was just and the fact that I got one, with the wait list was just so long. And
It really felt like God gave us this plot.
yes.
Or gave David this plot to learn gardening. I mean, it was funny because it was like kind of like Dave's hobby, but like also totally like a chore.
Yeah, it became.
Like I'm not sure exactly how you felt about it.
Well, no, I did enjoy it, or else I would have gave it up. But there was difficult times too.
This guy grew us so many tomatoes. It's like
We're just
tomato
finishing
sauce all
the tomato sauce.
winter and spring, butternut squashes.
We still have a couple left.
Anyone needs any squash.
I'm gonna be eating butternut squash when Brittany goes to
Yes.
Ontario soon.
But yeah, the Agnes Street Community
That was
Garden.
a big part.
Next I wrote classical conversations.
Tell us about that.
Well, most of you I'm sure know that we're a homeschooling family. And the biggest part about homeschooling for us has been the local homeschooling group that we joined called Classical Conversations. And it was a great curriculum. The kids and I had a lot of fun learning what was offered through that group and that curriculum, but mostly it was about the other families and the other moms and the other kids that we connected with and did home education with. And a very precious part of our last
Couple years.
couple years. Yep.
What's next?
Service providers.
We were just given what we needed all the time.
I just had to put this down because I was honestly, like, prayerfully thinking about just what has been special and important about these last 10 years. And I just like saw all these faces in my mind of these amazing professionals that have just been part of like this supportive community around us. I'm talking about an awesome GP, an awesome pediatrician, an awesome speech therapist, an awesome occupational therapist, amazing midwives, chiropractors, physiotherapists, the dentist.
Yeah, we never had trouble.
I don't know if I'm gushing. Like, I just,
It always worked out. It was just amazing.
I love these people.
Yeah.
I loved connecting with them. I learned a lot from them. I feel like they were all God's gift to us and to our family as we became established as people and as a family.
Yeah.
So
And we know that lots of people struggle with these things, and
to find
It was
the
just
right
such a
people
gift.
to help them at the right time, and we just felt like we were always given like awesome people to work with us. So
we will miss that.
we will miss that.
Yeah.
We will miss what we had, and we're so thankful for all of them. Oh,
837
Darwin Avenue.
Maybe a love-hate relationship with
That's
this,
the address of this house.
with this humble abode. Well, I mean, I was thinking today, I was thinking about this house. You know, in the Lord's Prayer it says, "Give us this day our daily bread." And it's not like, "Give us this day our daily steak or cocktail," or something, you know. This is a simple house.
Yeah, but it's been
It's-
exactly what we've needed.
It's daily bread. You know, we were praying, we lived across the road and our family was growing. We were praying for something a little bit bigger that would allow us to be hospitable and allow us to continue to live in Victoria on one income.
Yeah.
And this place, we also wanted to stay in the neighborhood because of Tolmie Park.
To continue some of the connections we had been
Yeah.
making, and then it
Literally,
was like,
the
we
house
looked,
across the road went up for rent.
it was like looking across the street. Oh, that house is for rent.
And it was a whole house, and it was basically the same price as our dinky little 2-bedroom apartment.
The
And yeah,
the price has been right. The location has been amazing for us over these last
yeah.
8 years.
Mm-hmm.
But also, like, this house, it has the best natural light ever.
Yes,
Like,
amazing.
It's
We never have to turn light bulbs on. It's great.
you know, it's like run down. There are aspects to this house that really
There are mice.
frustrate. We've had a lot of rodents.
It's been bad.
But the light.
Yes, and good for our kids. They could really sort of make it home, destroy it. I don't know how you want to put it.
I wouldn't put it that way, but yeah, it's been the right place. It's been a great place for us.
And we'll miss it. Well, parts
Well.
of it, the natural light. We'll miss that. But it's a little bit of this theme of daily bread. I don't know, like even the Tolmie Park and the friends, like we prayed for friends too,
We did.
you know, and God gave us just the simple provision. So our house was part of that.
Yeah.
And leads us to our next one. Our house is just down the block from
The Galloping Goose.
the Galloping Goose, which is
It made the top 10.
for those who don't, not from Victoria, it's a major bike artery or trail in the city. And man, we have used it continuously. It's allowed us to live in the city with one car. It's been a source of like just exercise, entertainment, transportation.
I jog on the Goose
Yeah, I bike on the Goose.
many times a week.
Yeah.
It's
I-
beautiful.
anywhere you want to go.
It's safe. It's varied. It goes far.
Yes,
Um,
we love it. And yeah, just I love biking in the city, and the fact that I live a block away is just, it's been amazing.
Totally. We actually skipped one, but this is also connected with the Galloping Goose. Is on our top 10 list is Swan Lake and Christmas Hill.
Right. Also kind of connected to our neighborhood here. At the end of the street is Swan Lake.
And you know what? This area has so many amazing parks, and we have enjoyed like the vast majority of them. But we really love Swan Lake and Christmas Hill.
Yeah.
We hike up Christmas Hill
Weekly.
all the time.
Yeah.
We do the loop around Swan Lake all the time.
I used to, when the first couple of years we lived in this house, I used to, on Tuesday mornings, would walk to church
On that trail system.
through the Swan Lake, up and over Christmas Hill, over the highway to church. And I just love that. It was so good.
Yeah, and what I love about them is I love enjoying them year round.
Yeah.
And I still remember one of the first years that we were here, feeling kind of sad that I wasn't like at home getting a white Christmas. And then walking, it was like Christmas Day, walking around Swan Lake and just taking in the immense amount of moss on everything. And it was this brilliant green, and it kind of looked like snow. And I just thought to myself, this is amazing.
And moss is Victoria's snow, I guess.
Well, maybe not. I don't know. Summer, winter, it's an awesome place to be.
Yeah. Swan Lake.
And the last thing.
Just sports. Seems like anticlimactic. Because this is not in order.
But there's the
Number
babies
one,
are definitely more
sports.
important than the sports. It does seem anticlimactic.
Well, do explain.
Well,
Let's explain
I
to
wrote
the
down
people.
sports/recreation, and it actually didn't make my list initially, but when I read you my list, you were like, well, what about hockey, baseball, and water polo, and mountain biking? I was like, oh yeah,
These are big parts of my life.
really big parts of Dave's life,
Yeah.
and like a fun part of your
Yeah,
life.
I just had these great outlets. Played hockey for 6 years, maybe 7. I was on the church baseball team for just about
Why
every
did you
year.
laugh?
Well, I don't know. I shouldn't have. I was thinking of when I was in a negative mood the other day, and I was like thinking, what have I done here? It's just thinking, just kind of being cynical, and I was like, well, the baseball team got a lot better.
David is very good at baseball.
Anyway, played baseball, and then I got into water polo 2 years ago because mostly the timing worked out, and I had a friend, who was interested. So, water polo and
And
then
mountain biking.
Yes. Oh, I love it. I went today.
I don't like it at all, and I'm very bad at it. Dave
Yeah.
has an awesome mountain bike and spends a lot of time on it. And you didn't before moving here.
No, Brendan Bosma got me into it, and Carl. Yeah. So it's been just a real highlight to have these just physical exercise outlets, and now our kids, are playing soccer and
Yeah.
sort of into we play road hockey at the park sometimes, and
Just
you
need
get
to
to
share it
be
with them.
soccer mom.
And
Brittany loves watching sports more than I like playing. She likes watching.
yeah.
Yeah.
Also, our kids are quite athletic,
Mm-hmm.
so there's lots of
Cheering,
cheering that.
proud mama.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow, top 10.
The top 10, after we talked about it and went through them, I was like, they're kind of simple.
Mm-hmm.
But these are the things I'm going to be carrying with me
Mm-hmm.
as we leave.
These are the highlights and
These are,
the changes.
and when we tell stories with the kids and reminisce with each other or whatever it might be, it's going to be around these things,
Yeah.
like these exact things.
Mm-hmm. We didn't write this down, but I just want to finish with just a big thank you to our church family here. It's just been a very wonderful place to grow and
And do life.
with so many of you, and then also for our neighborhood friends and community connections. Man, it's just our life has been so rich and good because of these just wonderful relationships that we've been able to form, and it's going to be really hard for us to say goodbye. So thank you so much for being a part. And I have so many stories of just people's generosity, and it's unbelievable, and I'm very, very, very thankful. Anything you want to say on that?
No, you said it. You said it right. You said it well.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks for everything.
Yeah, we will miss you guys, and thank you for being part of this decade with us.
Thanks.